Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to the Bimmer Barn. Today I'm going to be giving you a full garage tour of what is currently the Bimmer Barn, and I'm going to show you how I make the most out of my two-car garage in order to restore these beautiful BMW cars. I'm going to be showing you all the equipment that I use, how I organize things, what kind of toolboxes I have, and if you guys enjoy this video, please leave a like and let me know with the comment down below, and maybe in the future I'll do a full toolbox tour where I can show you all the specialty tools, sockets, ratchets, and stuff that I use there as well. But anyways guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight to the video. So we're going to start right here from my house door into the garage and start by saying that this thing is 23 feet deep as well as 19 feet wide. And I would say realistically it's more like 20 feet from right here, this ledge forward of usable garage space. And then this upper raised deck here is basically for the water heater, air conditioning unit, and you know, some storage stuff, as well as my washer and dryer. So I made as much use of that ledge as possible because it's kind of hard to roll things on, and obviously you can't really work on a car from there. So on this shelf right here that I built myself with some wood from Home Depot, actually before it got really expensive, I have some toolboxes. This just has sanding paper. This has my electric pressure washer, which I really love to use all the time, cleaning cars and cleaning parts. Some laundry stuff, some wood tools, some boots for riding the motorcycle, and then I have a reciprocating saw right here. This is a N54 brand new turbo that I have for sale. Some Bleschweiss. I love to use this stuff to clean. And this is a box of random car, you know, cleaning polishes and sponges and brushes and stuff like that. This is my main bucket of washing fluids and, you know, my ceramic coat, my leather finisher, a lot of Meguiar stuff, which I really love to use their stuff. You know, got a sponge in there, some car wash soap by Meguiar's. This is a blanket that I use when we go camping, and then a portable cooler with some tubes in it when we go to the springs, which are really nice here in Florida because they stay at a certain temperature all year. So in the summer, it's nice and cool, and in the winter, it's still kind of warm actually. And then, you know, I built this to hold the recycling bins underneath. It's a little box fan I use to keep cool. Some E39 M5 struts. This is a AC unit. This is a portable AC unit, and you can see that it's vented actually to the same vent that gets the dryer heat, and that goes out the side of the house, and it actually pushes a good amount of cold air from the front here. You do have to refill a water tank in here to keep it working efficiently, and it's really effective here in the garage, especially during the summer. I do want to add some insulation to the garage door to get it a little more heat proof in the summer, but here in the winter I don't even have to use it at all. It's nice and cool in the garage right now, so I sometimes use the fan for a little bit of ventilation. But this is great. The only thing is that it makes a little bit of noise, so I can't really record with it on, otherwise you guys will hear it in the background, but it's really nice to cool off the shop between shots. Now here is a plywood built, it's got a frame under there, a 2x4 frame, but it's a plywood built workbench. It actually has an integrated circular saw under the top platform here, and I'm able to put the saw up and use it kind of like a table saw. And I could, you know, I made a little guide here out of wood, and that way I can cut things out of wood straight, and it's just a cool little tool. It's a good use of that circular saw. And under here as well, I have some storage of different, you know, parts, actually some extra seats that I have for the 318 Ti. And it's really nice to have that space to just kind of throw things that I'm never really going to touch, but I do want to store. And it keeps it out of the way and looks good, and also makes a good storage surface as well. Now above this storage container, I have my helmets hanging. Both of those are for riding motorcycles, and that one is for racing. Over here I have some clamps. I use that when I'm building things out of wood. This is another thing I made out of wood here. I think I saw the plans online. I kind of just combined different ideas about, you know, interlapping the wood, and this was my first try. I didn't have the proper equipment, but it came out real nice, and it makes for good storage for these tubs, which I have full of spare parts for current builds. I think one of them is for the 318 Ti, and I think one of them is for the M5 wagon. Just extra, you know, interior trim pieces. I don't know, extra junk up there. Over here I have some extra E39 cabin filter covers. I'm hoarding those. These are some painting supplies, and then more wood supplies, so glue, finish, saw, stuff like that. I really do enjoy building things out of wood. It's very satisfying, and also having the opportunity to make things to fit exactly in the spaces where you need them to, making sure that you have clearance for, let's say, doors opening all the way is really key to organizing things, in my opinion, and that's how you get the most out of a space. Over here, I have something that I bought actually from, I think, Home Depot or Lowe's, or you can get these online too. They're just basic wire racks for storage and organization. And everything on the lower shelves here is just extra parts or supplies for builds that we're currently doing. So I have like the trim pieces I want to install on my M5 wagon, some eggshell containers, which I use to organize small bits, plastics, and screws. This shelf, I have like some extra emblems. These are the grip mats. I actually really enjoy these. I'll put a link to them in the description. They're made out of silicone, so they're easy to clean, and it's really nice to like throw over an engine and start organizing bolts as you pull them off of like a motor. So those are really key when you're working on a car. I have some extra parts here. These are jack pads for the quick jacks. My old MSD80 DME. Up here I have like extra E39 modules. Parts that I have like for sale, brake booster, rain light sensors, stuff for like upcoming videos that I'm just procrastinating on and still gathering the information so that when I make a video, I, have a successful install. Now up here is a box of painting equipment. So I have all sorts of different spray cans, plasti dips. Here's my 3M breather, which is really key when you're doing any sort of painting. Some spray gun cleaner, microfibers, which I'm commonly cycling through, going from clean to dirty, and then, at some point you have to trash them. And here's my spray gun. I've used it a couple times now, and I'm really happy with the quality of the spray that you get out of this gun. So I'll put a link to that down there as well. You guys can check that out. Really affordable gun if you're trying to get into painting. And this little storage container here, I think I got it from Aldi actually, or maybe Costco. They're nice because they actually fold down to like pretty flat when you're not using them, but they're pretty stiff and rigid when you are putting things inside of them. But as you can see, it kind of wants to fold back in on itself. Thank goodness that there's stuff inside keeping it rigid still. Now up here we have some of my most favorite medium-sized, small-sized tools. So I'm going to go through each of them individually with you, starting with my steam shot cleaner. So this thing takes a little bit of water up here, and using this hose and then connecting up to a standard outlet, it heats up the water and you get a really nice steam that comes out. This is one of the more affordable, like budget-friendly steamers that I found on Amazon. Personally, I use this to get tint off because it heats up the film really well. And when I'm cleaning plastic bits inside the car, like trim pieces, things that have like ash or gooey substances, stuff that we need to get out, it's really effective for that. You can also use it to clean leather, a lot of different purposes. Even getting grease off of a motor, it can do to an extent, but it's not always the best use for that. Sometimes you have to resort to pressure washing, which has a lot of pressure, and that is able to remove things that are really caked on. But this heat plus steam application works great to clean a lot of things. On top of the steam cleaner, we have my AK90. This we use to program some BMW keys. It's really handy to have and helps you reduce some of the cost of making new keys when you lose one or when you buy a new car and you want to have extras. Right here's a box of painting supplies. This is just some extra stuff from the last time we painted. I have clear coat and hardener for it, so that next time we paint something, we'll already have some of that left over. And then a standard mixing bucket right there. Below it, I have this cargo canister. I think this one's empty. I got it at Harbor Freight though for a good deal. And this thing is just nice to have in case you do want to store some stuff. And now that I know that it's empty, I'm actually going to keep that in mind. I probably can come up with a lot of good reasons to use that. Now right here we have my hot air rework station. This is what we used when we did the MSD80 MOSFET repair, and although that wasn't successful, we still have the kit here, which is great if we need to do any soldering or removing soldered components in the future. So that's a nice tool to have. And right below it we have our polisher. So I got this off of Amazon, of course. It was a great deal. Great beginner polisher, I would say. And it even comes with a few pads. Although I did upgrade and start using the Meguiar's microfiber pads. I really like the finish that you get out of these, plus the Meguiar's compound. But for a screaming deal, you get this orbital polisher, and it's been doing me a really good job on buffing out headlights as well as buffing out cars. So this is something that if you're going to be getting into car detailing yourself and you want to keep your car all cleaned up, and sometimes you want to polish up, you know, a faded sunspot or something, this is a really nice tool to have. Now this box right here is nothing but some extra BMW parts, and same thing for this box right here. These are actually 997 used control arms off of Build. Here is my Schwaben brake bleeder pump kit. I would really recommend you guys grab one of these. It's multi-purpose, so not only can you pressurize your brake fluid tank and do like a forced bleed, but also you could use this to bleed your clutch system. And then on top of that, you could fill this actually with ATF fluid, and you could do a power fill of your transmission, which is actually what I've used this thing for a couple times now. And it makes it really clean rather than trying to, I don't know, use some sort of hand siphon pump to go from fluid container to the transmission. So this comes as a kit. I think it's right under $100, and I'll put a link to it down below, but it's really handy for doing all sorts of jobs if you're going to be working on your car at home. Now we're going to take a look at my top shelf here and then work down to the boxes. Right here is a box of motorcycle parts. I have some mic equipment, camera equipment, and then I have my fluids kind of organized, kind of not organized. You know, things that I use commonly like WD-40 and PB Blaster are up here. I also would commonly have like brake cleaner up here. Brake fluid is really important to have. I have some injector cleaner here, which is nice for cleaning things with carbon buildup. I have some distilled water, and then oil, and my little Bluetooth speaker here, extra gas, and then here I have some degreaser. So I like to use Purple Power because when you dilute it, like let's say 2 parts to 5 parts water, it still comes out really strong, and it's good for cleaning things around engines, things that are oily and stuff like that. So here is my laptop. I have a little whiteboard here with video ideas, things that we're focusing on. The laptop also has my hammers underneath it and the degreaser. Here's another custom wood frame here that I have to hold my drills. I'm a big Milwaukee guy if you haven't been able to tell by now, but they have a great M18 system. It charges up well. All these things have a ton of torque, I've realized, and they've never let me down. I have had to, I think, have the tip here rebuilt for it keeping the sockets on, and I also think I had this ratchet rebuilt at the head once, but replacing those parts or having it rebuilt isn't very expensive. And when I was using these as a BMW mechanic, I mean, you have to expect some wear and tear on the tools considering that you're using them every single day as hard as possible. Here's my air compressor. It's a 21 gallon from Harbor Freight. It's a really good deal, and it works well, and it's also pretty quiet considering how big it is and how fast it's able to fill up. Quick little garbage can. I have my compressor, well, the hydraulic compressor for the quick jacks, which are currently installed, but I always store the hoses aside here when I'm trying to walk around and clear up some space. This is my first box here. I actually bought this from Harbor Freight, and it still made it to this day. I'd say the only thing that's wrong with it is one of the locks fell apart here, so it doesn't lock anymore. But instead what I did was I installed some magnets on the sides here, and it actually keeps the drawer from sliding out on its own. Otherwise, it would bounce off and come all the way out like that. But whatever, this thing has been a trooper. It was a great deal when I bought it, and everything else still works on it. I took off the lock because I wanted to fit my Craftsman, whatever size set this is here, and the lock was interfering with the toolbox here. And this is a great way to keep it organized. This was actually the first set of tools that I ever got as a gift from my dad, and that's what allowed me to start working on cars. And so since then, I've just used and abused every single socket in this set, and I've tried to, you know, buy them. When I lose one, I try to buy the one that I lost, and that way I have a complete set all the time. And again, like I said, it's great at organizing all the sockets and bits everywhere. This is my second box here. It's actually a Milwaukee box. I think I got it at Home Depot because they sell Milwaukee stuff. And it's been a great box as well. It has a ton of features like an integrated power strip and USB power on the side here. Tons of storage. It even has a lock system right here. But what I like about it a ton is that it has this open space here. So these shallow drawers make it easy to quickly see what you're gonna grab it and quickly store things, which I really like about this box. Also, this lid here, it's actually reversible, so I can flip it up and down, but the other side is just as used now as this top side. So I'm thinking it'd be cool to do a metal top conversion in the future. Basically just cut a sheet of stainless steel that's really thin and bolt it in to where it bolted in from factory. And that would give this box a nice flat metal finish and be a little bit more resistant to staining and dropping tools, which is the only downside about wood tables here, is that when you drop something and it leaves a little scratch, then the scratch fills in with grease. And since, you know, the scratch isn't stained or cleared wood anymore, the grease doesn't come out. You really can't clean it off. So doing a metal top conversion would be really cool. Here's a vice grip that I have. It's been really vital in doing certain small jobs where you need an extra set of hands. So that's really nice to have. Also, you'll see that I have extra jack stands. That's my cat Mimi. But jack stands are really key to have around the garage, especially when you're working on multiple cars at a time, which I often find myself doing. So you can see that we're currently doing a swap here. Actually, we just removed the 335i motor from this car and put it in my wagon here. And this garage has had plenty of space actually for me to get the engines on these rolling dollies and moved from side to side to get swapped into these cars. So if you guys are trying to do motor swaps and stuff in your garage at home, I'd say if you can organize your garage in a similar way where you keep as many things to the sides and off the ground as possible, you can actually get a good amount of room in here to walk around, work on the cars, and have plenty of space to breathe. Like I said, a big component is having shelves that keep things off the ground. Here is a little bit messy. It's not a good example because I'm still storing some parts for the front end of this car that I haven't installed yet, but usually you could walk all the way down here and have access to grab things from above the shelf here. So now we're gonna look at this shelf from top to bottom here, everything that I have on it. The first thing is gonna be that red shop vac there. This is a Harbor Freight special, and I use it on every car that I work on, even my personal cars from time to time in order to clean them, because it does a great job of getting between the seats and the carpets and pulling out dirt and stuff like that to make the carpets clean when you're working on your car. Right here we have a slide hammer kit. This is great for pulling off hubs, doing wheel bearing jobs and stuff like that. Behind that I have my welder kit. You saw us build an exhaust system for the M5 wagon, and coming up we're going to be building something for the 335 wagon as well, so stay tuned for that. Now the small box right there is some Dynamat material. This is sound deadening for when you're building a car and you lay it down between the frame of the car underneath the carpet, and it helps create a quieter experience inside the car, but it does add weight. Beneath that, we have some black interior components to do a headliner conversion on my M5 wagon. Now in that black box there, I'll show you guys we have an emergency toolkit, something I think everyone should make so that they can have something to grab when they're about to go on a road trip. So I even have it labeled here in case I need to tell someone to go in my garage and grab it. But in a kit like this, of course, the most important thing is you want to keep an extra BMW emblem. I don't know why that's in there. But we've got things like a screwdriver, clip, a sewing kit, a level, screwdriver, a needle patch kit, so things to fix a flat tire right here. That's really important. And then at the bottom here, I have a picture hanging kit, a little cheap screwdriver. And then this is a super basic socket kit. I think I got gifted once. Just has a ton of random stuff in it that I would imagine, you know, might come in handy if you're trying to fix something on the side of the road. So I put all this together. Basically, the most important things being the tire patch kit, you know, having a basic set of screwdrivers and flatheads. And these are just things that you probably want to take with you if you're going on a road trip in case you find yourself on the side of the road and you need to torque something down that came loose. Next to my emergency toolkit, we have a small portable air compressor, and this I use to go to race events, track events when you need to pump up your tires and adjust the air pressure on the fly. Next to that is the shampoo cleaner that I use to get my carpets on all the cars that we build and restore. That's a really nice system. Actually, we have some extra carpet conditioner right here. And then in front of that, we have our axle shaft install kit. You've seen us use this before, but it's nice to pull axles through and just one part of that job, which is really key to have a tool for. Inside of that slim black box there, we have an AC line kit. I like to do my own AC work. All you have to do is go to the mechanic shop and have them drain it. And then for a fraction of the cost of them doing it, you can actually do it yourself at home using refrigerant, a vacuum pump, and the AC manifolds. In the red box, we have our bushing press pull kit with the sleeves, which I use all the time to get bushings out and bearings and stuff like that. So if you guys don't have something like that, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Really nice to have. And next to that, we have our alignment toe plates, and these are great to do alignments at home by yourself. And to get a basic alignment, it's not going to help you adjust caster or camber at all, but to get a good toe and go and get your car driving straight again, those are really nice to have. And then of course we have a red cooler, which is great to go camping with. I try to get out of the house as much as possible and travel with Goose. So that's what we take when we go to the beach and stuff like that. Now, right here, you'll see some ramps. These I use on my truck when I'm transporting my dirt bike. Here we have a shelf kit, which is made specifically for holding tires, tire storage. It can hold 4 tires and it's no problem. I actually did a hanging pull-up from this thing before on that outer bar. So it's strong for sure, for sure. I think I bought this on Amazon. I'll put a link to it if I can find in the description below, and that way you guys can check it out. But it does fold into itself when you're not using it, but trust me, I've always got extra tires to store. So right above it, we do have an E39 M5 bottom bench seat. I do have that for sale. If you guys want to throw me a good offer on it, I'll sell it to one of you guys. It is for sedans only, so that's why I haven't been able to install it on my touring. And I just don't feel like taking the leather off of it to replace the bottom skin of my touring. Right below the tires, we have a collapsible ladder. I use this to get into the attic sometimes or to do projects around the house. Have some extra wood from other projects. Have some styrofoam, which I use for painting. This is my creeper, which you guys see me use all the time to get underneath a car and to service things from underneath it, especially when the car is on the quick jacks. This gives me a ton of room to slide around. Now over here is a little hoard of parts. I don't recall, I think I have some extra E39 parts in here. This is a failed experiment. I was trying to dye the carpets on my touring, well, some extra carpet pieces that I had, and it just didn't come out as dark and as rich as I would have hoped. And also turns out that the dye I use tends to rub off and it'll actually get on your skin. So that's kind of a failed experiment, but that's why we did it on just one piece, because I wanted to see what the results would be. And you never saw a video on that because I was not happy with the result. Over here, I still just have a little hoard of things. I think this is a 10-pound extra long sledge, which is great for knocking things loose that don't want to come loose. And then I have a tent here. This is like a foldable tent. I'll use that at like maybe car shows or when I go to the beach with Goose and stuff like that. So that's a really nice thing. Like I said, try to get out of the house as much as possible. You'll see behind my trash can here, I have some really nice, looks like 90s or however old these things are, some lawn chairs for going to the beach and for going to the park and stuff. Now, although this is a garage tour, there is just one thing inside that I need to show you, and that is my extra layover storage. These are shipping supplies for selling my USB charger kit, extra parts that I currently have for sale, and just overflow storage. Extra shipping box in case I need to sell something and ship it out. So that's just a little cheat here, but hey, when you're a car guy, sometimes it just makes sense to have a little bit of overflow from the garage into the house. So that's going to conclude our garage tour for the Bimmer barn. Of course, this is how we're currently laid out. And if you guys have a 2-car garage, I hope you guys can make the best out of it, fixing your cars at home yourself. In the future, I would love to get a small barn that we can use to restore BMWs and hold events and create cool content and stuff like that. And that's kind of why we're called the Bimmer barn, if you haven't figured it out by now. But anyways guys, I do hope that you enjoyed the video, and let me know with a like or a comment down below, and I'll definitely follow up with a toolbox tour, which will give you a walkthrough of all these sockets and ratchets and cool wrenches that I have that I use to work on BMWs. But anyways, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't yet, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.